Arjun, what a fabulous performance over the weekend. Is that the best possible way to destroy those demons from last year?
Thank you, and it's a fantastic weekend. We started off brilliantly with with the race concepts. The development process is constant, so we come into the new year with the expectations, but at the same time, until you get the car on the track, you don't know. So we had a whole lot of brand new stuff which we tried to dial in as soon as we can. Still a work in progress, but the lap times were so encouraging, and finally to get we thought that there was a possibility of getting a big lap, breaking a barrier in qualifying, which we did, and I think that's been hugely satisfying. Basically just to validate the direction of work that has been going on in the car, and all of us putting our heads together. So yes, it's a great way to start the first race. We started well, half lap into it. We had issues with boost, but again, it's a testament to the balance of the car that we managed to hold on to for 9 laps with it hardly having any, just minimal boost pressure. And today, with the reverse grid, it's always a gamble. We have to always be careful, never take things for granted. The car was working at 100%. So within a lap and a half, we could find the way up into the lead. And after that, being a 12-lap race in the afternoon, I just took it very, very easy. Probably the easiest I've ever taken it in a race. And it's because we wanted this weekend in the bag after the last weekend that we had in the last race of the championship last year, we thought everything went away from us, and at that point it did. The championship went away, and it was very difficult to accept it for a long time. And I wanted a weekend like this for it to, I don't know if it makes amends, but I think it's pretty close. I think with the lap time that we put in qualifying, I think it's a huge thing for Joel, and and now everybody else at Race Concepts. It's the biggest example of the work that they do and the constant progress that they do, and it never stops. We go back with more motivation to work harder, and because this is what we love to do and enjoy. And I think we're finally ready to put the bad weekend from last year finally to rest and move forward with the positives of this weekend.
Now, coming back to that lap time, breaking into the 49s has been something that people have been coveting ever since maybe 5-6 years now. Did it feel at all like you were on course to set such a lap time while you were doing it? Was it at all dramatic, or was it smooth sailing all the way?
We set a couple of laps in the 50s in free practice with tires from last year. So while I knew that it was always possible, it was a surprise to us that it could be possible. But it was never something that we are going to risk doing, because there's still a lot of development left, and we were not going to risk it. But when I was on the lap, I knew it was a quick one. I was very happy that it was in the 48s. Not entirely surprised that it was in the 49s. Not entirely surprised because it felt damn good in the car. Nothing dramatic. It was just a good clean lap. Maybe because it's the first lap on brand new tire, maybe not really optimum, but it felt very, very good. So yeah, I was happy that it came, and I was happy for the whole team that it came, and we need to push on from there.
Well, congrats, Arjun. It was an absolute pleasure watching you drive.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in Coimbatore.
Yes, thank you.
Keith, podium on your debut in this ITC car. How good does it feel right now?
Feels good. Used to debut podiums, there's a long way to go in terms of performance. We've tried some new concepts in this car. Not had much of time building the car, so come June we should have all the stuff that we need to go in the car. So hopefully we cut a few more seconds, but in terms of the basic handling, it's going the right direction. So I'm sure we have a good baseline for June Coimbatore.
This is a pretty promising haul of points to take into Coimbatore, especially given how Volkswagen, the factory team, is going to come with probably 2 or 3 Ventos. How stressful might the next few months be to ramp up development of the car and get it up to pace?
Honestly speaking, with the time we had on the car, 3 more months is a lot of time. That's three, like we've had a month only with the car. So 3 more months now is a lot of time. We just wanted to make it for this round and not miss this opportunity, because then from June onwards, there's not much time in terms of development. So we wanted the car to run, have a base. It's a long way to go in terms of development, but yeah, I'm happy with how the base of the car is. So from here onwards, we know we're going in the right direction.
Cool. Well, best of luck with that, and I'll see you again in Coimbatore. Rithvik, 2 wins out of 2. Was that the perfect way to begin your championship defense?
Well, it was a long weekend. We came on Thursday. I couldn't really drive on Thursday. Went out with the car on Friday, and it was nice. Car felt good. Felt like the way it was last year as well. Just set it up the way I did, and ran on old tires. And lap times came. I was first in free practice 1. I was first in free practice 2. The next day we had quali, and I went on to fresh tires because we couldn't change it before FP2, which I struggled on. The tire compound was a little different, so the car setup with the tire compound didn't really work, and I qualified second behind one of my teammates. And going into the race, we had a mixed grid, so it was going to be quite a challenge to get past. And with the Amios being faster than us, I honestly thought it would be easy. But started race 1, I got Bala on the first lap itself, and I held the lead and actually got past 2 Amio Cup cars and kept those 2 cars behind me for 2 laps. So it was a good way to keep Rahul, who was in second place in the Superstock category, 2 car lengths behind. And yeah, just pulled away from there and won that race. The second race was a lot more interesting. Into the first corner, after the start, it was complete chaos. Coming to the second corner, Rahul was right beside me, and he passed me after C3. And beautiful, brilliant move, honestly. And later in that lap, I found a way to get past him, and he didn't make it easy, but didn't make it hard either. So mutual respect there, and I just pulled away after that and finished the race. It was a lovely weekend, 2 podiums, 2 first places, and I'm very happy with that. Good start of the weekend and good start of the championship.
Your team also has a whole host of new teammates for you. How's the atmosphere in the pits right now?
Well, everyone's getting to know each other. Everyone's getting to terms with the cars. Pratik obviously drove for us last year as well, and he did a good job. I think he was a little overwhelmed this weekend, but other than that, we've got Tom and a couple of other new drivers, and they're doing really well. I mean, the newbies are finishing 4th, 5th, 6th, which I think is incredibly good. And I think also the way Joel's pepped these cars up, it's very easy to get in one of these things and win right off the bat. So it's a good thing, new teammates, and everyone's getting to know each other, and I think we're going to have a strong showing this year.
Well, best of luck for the rest of the season. Thank you. Alisha, nice start to the season for you with 2 podiums. How likely was this scenario after qualifying for you?
Well, it was really great because after 4.5 years, I'm coming back, and it felt good. But then I'm still 2 seconds, 1.5 to 2 seconds below, behind the champion. But I think I can kickstart it well. Well, I'm looking forward for the Coimbatore round.
That's a fair bit of points to take for the round in June. What are your aspirations for the title this year? Is it to go all out and go for your victory in your first season with Race Concepts?
Yes, definitely. I've chosen the best team and the best car. I had no problems, no issues with the car. Well, I need to learn the car very well because it's very hard to learn the difference between, after 4 years coming back, it's like going back to school again. So I didn't have much time to learn the car, but I think Coimbatore, I'm surely going to go all out, and Rithvik better watch out for me.
If I may ask, what prompted this shift, and why did you choose Superstock and why Race Concepts?
Race Concept because the best team in India. Superstock because it's within my budget, so that's the reason I chose.
Thanks for your time, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Joel, was that the best weekend of your life?
Yes, I think it has been the best weekend so far. After being chasing numbers with an ITC car since 2011, it's great to see that we finally broken new barriers and eclipsing the 1 minute 50 barrier and moving into a 49 was something that was purely sensational and I think historic. Everybody knows the effort that goes behind building a car that fast, and I'm very, very happy that we could achieve it in the early part of the calendar, and it's truly an amazing weekend.
No, that's a whole second quicker than the previous lap record you guys set in the last round of the championship last year. What sort of changes have been made to the car to, ensure this? It's pretty massive jump in performance. So, what exactly resulted in that jump?
So when we clocked 1 minute 50 last year in quali, we knew that we had a bit of compromise with that lap as well, because we had new brakes and we hadn't bed in the pads, etc. So we knew we had more time to come from the car last year itself. So we just worked a little bit more on the dynamics front and also on the powertrain. We worked a little bit more on the engine, and so I think the combination of the powertrain and dynamics, and of course Arjun really driving the hell out of the car mattered a lot. And I think his confidence in the car also grew with us working a lot on the braking system, which was one of the key points of improvement on the car, and I think that's contributed in a great way. And we know that the ideal lap is still not out from the car. It still has a long way to go, but we're very happy with what we got, and setting this in the early part of the season gives us a lot of confidence, and I think it's motivating us to now stay stronger for the rest of the season.
Now, also this weekend you were supposed to wear two hats. You were also going to drive in the IGTC in your car. Could you tell us a bit about that car and also the other red color Honda City that was in the IGTC class, and what do you think generally the future holds for the IGTC class?
As a category, I think IGTC is a fantastic class. It's the perfect opportunity to drive something quick and at the same time affordable. So it fits between the ITC and Superstock. So when I last raced in 2014 and I formed the Superstock category, since then the Superstock category has grown in all possible ways, with us fielding many cars through the seasons. I think the same potential is there with the IGTC, with the kind of category that it is. It's quite affordable, cheap to run, and you can have a car which is quite fast, in a modified format. So I wanted to develop a car and build it myself based on feedback that I get. And I think it was a great opportunity to sit in a car, because I haven't raced for a while, so I wanted to do a full season. It was definitely a challenging affair for me to sit in a car and also jump out of it and then work on the ITC car and still go out and set lap times. So we dialed the car in a bit, and then we had a water pump failure in the IV Tech car. And Sunil, who is a new driver who stepped into the category, has done very well. We had a brand new build for him, which ran like clockwork, and we're happy that he, in the mixed combined format of the IGTC being put into the ITC class, he finished third on the podium for whatever reason. So pretty excited that we had a new guy clinching a podium. Having said that, the IGTC class I think is a fantastic platform, and I will be going all guns to ensure that the category grows. And I think personally it's a lovely class, and which is why I chose to enter the class, and I guess I would be doing the season.
That's really great to hear. But given how the ITC will eventually transition into the more modern cars, the IGTC class surely helps you and also other tuners to find a platform that they can build on for the ITC, right?
Yes, of course. The IGTC car class is basically for cars manufactured over 2010, and from December 2021, the older gen cars would not be permitted in ITC. So
eventually everybody has to buckle up and move on to newer cars. And I think IGTC is a category to give you a baseline of where you stand with a modern car. Whether you choose to do an IGTC or not, you definitely have to, I think, explore your options to move into newer cars. For us, the option is not just a Honda. We are looking at possibilities outside of a Honda, and I think we are very soon going to figure out an option to upgrade, and we should be out maybe next season with a fresh car.
Now, coming to the race itself, the car did lack boost out of the turbocharger in the first race. But despite that, he did manage, obviously, to pull off a really good victory. And today there was almost an 8-second gap between first and second place. How satisfying does it feel knowing that the fruits of your labor are finally bearing fruit? And also, how close are you to relinquishing those demons from last season?
So race 1, unfortunately, we had a boost leak with one of the induction pipes. We had little to maybe 2 psi boost, and with that we managed to do a 1 minute 54. Even last year, when I think in round 3 we lost the spring on the wastegate, and we ended up having absolutely no boost. We ran 0 boost and we did a 55 and qualified 4th. So it shows the potential of the car, that even without boost the car can actually do a fantastic job to stay together, to put out a decent amount of power, and I think the packaging is extremely positive. Having said that, today to see the car come back in its full glory and to accelerate on demand and then finish the race cooling off, I mean, it shows that we can drive the car on throttle on demand and then off throttle when you don't need to. So 8 seconds, 9 second gap was purely that was the only needed pace. We didn't have to prove anything by pulling off a mile on people. So I think it's all about, since the races are getting to be long distance, I think it makes more sense to ensure the equipment comes back in good shape, and you don't hammer it just because the car is capable of doing a 49. So with that in mind, I think it's definitely important to have the car staying together for longer races like this. A 12-lap race for an ITC is definitely a lot of abuse on the equipment, and we sure think that reliability and endurance is the key to this category. So as much as power and everything you develop, there has to be a lot of emphasis on how well the car can hold itself up from the first lap until the checkered flag.
Well, that's very nicely put. Best of luck for Coimbatore, Joel, and for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
So that was a very eventful weekend. Would you say this was the perfect farewell for the AMEO?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's nice to have all of the cars, and especially this weekend we had really, really good drivers in there, so it was a very competitive field. So it was a fantastic way to send off the old girl. She's actually quite young still, but 3 years with phenomenal reliability, and it's been a brilliant car, and the credit goes to my fantastic team because we developed this completely in India. And now we're looking for the next step with the Polo, so it should be a lot more fun.
Now, the AMEO was hailed as a very successful sort of launch pad for drivers to get into racing. How confident are you that the Polo will deliver the same sort of reaction?
Well, see, that's one of the things that we always aim to do, and so while with the Polo, it is going to be not only all the driving side of it, but we'll also have some strategy aspect to the drivers with the push-to-pass functionality. So it's going to be a lot more challenging. I think it's going to push them a lot harder. But for sure, our championship is the best place for people to come in and race an international class of car and do it for reasonably low cost.
And I know it's a little bit early to talk about the ITC, but any chance you could give us some spoilers about what we might expect in June?
I mean, we will have more cars again. We have just been so busy at the moment for the last, couple of months with all the other projects we've got going on. So we didn't have a chance to actually do any real development. So we've got the one car that's running with some new stuff done to it. But for sure, in June, you'll see a few more cars. So you'll see 3 cars back on the grid. And it'll be a lot more fun. And we have a lot of homework to do now that Arjun has thrown down a flyer of a lap. So he's raised the bar. We need to now do our homework to catch up.
Best of luck, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure.